What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We missed last week because Uncle Ty went on a hunting trip out in Idaho to get his very first elk, but he came home with nothing. So we're gonna have to go on Instagram and give him some tips on how to get the job done. But we are 1 week past, and we have a very exciting guest. One that is probably my favorite rider to watch on TV. He definitely is close to my heart because he's a true American hero. He rode his absolute heart out at MX of Nations. He got his very first Supercross Premier Class win this year in San Diego. Welcome to the show, Aaron Plessinger.
Thanks for having me on, brother. I really appreciate it, man.
Dude, I'm so stoked to have you here. So the first question I got for you, Aaron, is it Plessinger or Plessinger?
I get asked this all the time, but the way I pronounce it is the way my grandma pronounces it. She like honestly splits the two S's. So she says Plessinger.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I've always just looked at it that way. If you split the two S's, it's Pless and then Singer.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I've always said it. But if it were up to me, it don't matter. You can call me whatever.
Hey, grandma's right. Let's just put it that way. I mean, that's the bottom line. The way grandma says is the way we're gonna say it. Plessinger, there it is. Everybody knows now. Get it right, no matter who you are. The first thing I want to start with, throwing it back a little bit, is Aaron, dude, where did you get, like, what's the roots of Aaron Plessinger? Where did you grow up? What got you into dirt bikes?
Yeah, so I grew up in southwestern Ohio, almost as southwestern as you can get, right above Cincinnati. We were like, I think like 30 minutes north of the line of Kentucky, and then about 15 minutes or 30 minutes from the line of Indiana. So yeah, it's all cornfields and horse riding out there. It's funny when I go back. It's always cool to see all the farmland up there and everything. But no, my dad really got me into to motorcycles, and he bought me my first one when I was 3 years old, the PW50, and I rode for 2 years, and then he took me to my first race when I was 5 years old, which was an off-road race. It was a hare scramble by the house, and it was a mud pit. I mean, I have little like glimpses of memory in that, of him just chasing me all the way around the track, pushing me up the little ruts. You know, they were big hills to me back then, but now looking back, they were probably like 3 foot tall, something like that. But yeah, he was a professional off-road racer, and he ended up, I think he got 4 championships, 2 in national, I think it's national hare scramble championships, and then 2 GNCC, which is Grand National Cross Country Championships. So yeah, he loved it. His dad, his brothers and sisters never raced, so he started out, I think he was like 15 when he got his first dirt bike, and him and my uncle would travel all around and race, and he was damn good. So yeah, he got me into it, and we pretty much did off-road and motocross from the time I was 5 years old until the time I think I turned 17 in 2013, 17 or 18 in 2013. And and then we transitioned to just strictly motocross, and then the rest is pretty much history, man.
Yeah, straight up. So I like to ask this question, but like, when did you kind of like transition to the point where you're like, because I remember when I was a kid that there was a moment my dad took me to the LA Coliseum and I watched Jeremy McGrath win in the Coliseum. And I remember that moment so clearly because that was kind of like that defining moment that was like, I want to be a supercross racer. You know, like when, I guess, why did you guys transition strictly to motocross? And did you ever have that moment? Do you remember that when you were growing up or not really?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because with me, like all my other than Travis Pastrana, right? I
Yeah.
like everybody knew Travis Pastrana growing up.
Yeah.
Everybody, watched the movies and the freestyles and the races and um, you know, other than him, all my idols were off-road guys, and going to the races, like it's a lot different in the off-road world. Like um we did the, like, same as Supercross, we did the
Yep.
one day event,
Yeah.
and but it was youth riders go first. So we started at like 8:30 in the morning and we go an hour and a half. And
Yeah.
then the next was the morning class and they would go 2 hours, which is like uh sportsmen and like the C classes and
Yep.
then
Yep. Yep.
like the older guys. And then at 1 p.m. the pros would take off. And I guess I guess when I got done racing, my whole goal was to go out on the trail and cut lines for the pros.
Yeah.
And when I would do that, like I guess just, dude, watching them come to the woods and watching how fast they would skirt through these lines that I had just cut pretty much with my bare hands. And it wasn't like cheater lines, it was just
Yeah.
like lines where there was an S turn. I would cut a straight cross line and I would point my favorite riders through and then just kind of stand around and like cheer on the rest of the guys. So,
Yeah.
dude, I guess just watching those dudes come to those trails and the speed that they were going and how good they looked going to the woods, I guess that was the point where I was like, man, I really, really want to do this. Like this in general, like just be on a dirt bike riding.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like it took me a long, long time to where I was like, man, I'd really love to do Supercross. Like it almost took me until um that year in 2013 to where I was like, man, I'm actually good enough to do this. And like in years prior, like I was one of those guys who just kind of top 10 Lorettas. I would top 10 like all the amateur nationals, but I was never like one to stand out and somebody be like, whoa, look at that kid. I
Yeah.
was
Like,
just always
wow,
like,
he's so fast.
yeah. I wasn't like an Adam or, like
Well, there
anybody like
wasn't
that.
very
So
many Adams. I mean, Adam won every freaking race. Fuck.
yeah, and I had to race him, dude. I was like 5'10" on an 85, and he was still 4'5" and
Yeah.
just spanking me. So yeah, I kind of lived in the shadows of those guys my whole career until I got on big bikes and kind of my style started to change and I started to become just better at riding in general.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, it took me until that last in 2013 when I fully transitioned into motocross that I was like, wow, like if I keep riding like I'm riding, I could be good enough to do it. So
Yeah.
we took 2013. It was a really, really good year for me. And then I ended up signing with Star, and then I went 14. Not as great of a year for me. I was struggling a lot. And then I moved out to California before, I think it was Monster Cup that year. And I started riding Supercross, and man, was it rough. It did not come natural at all. I'm telling you, dude. My first day on Supercross, I didn't jump anything really. I doubled the triple, or I would single double the triple. I didn't jump any triples on the track.
Bro,
I was
the worst thing is doubling a triple. For all of you people out there that have never raced Supercross, the scariest thing, ask any rider, it's not the 353, it's not the whoops, it's doubling the Supercross triple. That is the worst thing on the track.
I would rather hit 5 foot tall whoops, about 20 of them, than double a Supercross triple. It is the most intimidating thing you will ever do in your life.
Yes. Okay, so you were at the track and you would go roll double, and then so how did how'd the rest of the first day go?
Yeah, I think I did like 2 10-lap motos and then just called it a day after that, because the only thing I was good at was the whoops. And I would just lean back and just kind of hope everything went right.
I mean, that's a good thing to be good at.
Yeah, that was one of the things, because at the time, I think, do you remember he's a mechanic, his name's Scott Adkins?
I recognize the name. I don't know the face, but I'm sure if you showed me his face, I would know.
Yeah, he worked for Jeremy Martin, I think, 1 or 2 years, something like that. Mm-hmm. But he was the one that took me to the track at Star, and he'll tell you today, like, man, that first day was rough. But no, I ended up from there going and racing the Ricky's Road to Supercross when they had it.
Yeah.
The Arenacross races. And I actually won. I won Baltimore, I think.
Yep.
And then the rest of them, what was it? Zach Ames, Bowers, and all the boys put it to me. McDade, I think, was there. Regal was there. They really didn't like the young kid coming in and showing them.
Dude, Bowers was scary, bro. Bowers was sketchy at Arenacross. Like, I did not want to race that guy at all. There was no desire to race against Bowers whatsoever.
Dude, I tell you what, and I think it was in Greensboro, South Carolina, and I remember there's a picture somewhere. There's a picture somewhere of me up on the next berm, like ready to pounce on him. And I figured, if I jumped, one of two things would happen.
Yep.
The number one would be I would hit him and bounce off of him because he's massive, and I was, 130 pounds at the time.
Yep.
Or I would hit him at the wrong point and he would just run me over, and I would just look like an idiot just laying there.
Dude, I raced Arenacross like probably 10 rounds, and it's just so brutal. And like that story is just like the sum up of Arenacross. Like, there was no option not to hit the guy almost. It's just like,
oh yeah,
you had to.
It's such a narrow track, and the only thing that is in there are three. I mean, that were in there when we were racing it, was 3 180 turns.
Yep.
And a flat corner, which usually led into the whoops. So you had no like you had no choice but to make your passes in those 3 180s. And usually, like not every time, but usually it ended up with some contact for sure.
Okay, be honest though. Do you ever remember a pass that was even in the top 5 that didn't have contact? Like, even if it wasn't a little bit, there was something. There's no passing a dude without touching him unless it's the whoops. Like, if it was the whoops and you got a better run, yeah, you could do it. But you weren't doing that on the top 3 guys because the top 3 guys, it's just about as fast as you could go into the whoops from that flat corners what the top 3, top 5 guys would do.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was no. I mean, I say clean passes, but there were there was not many clean passes in Arenacross. But in their defense, it was so hard to make a clean pass because there was only 100 or 150 feet of track that you could make that clean pass.
Yeah. No, straight up. Straight up. So you did Arenacross, you did that whole thing. You had to get your points, correct?
Yep. And I ended up getting my points, even though I got taken out because all you had to do was qualify for the main event, and I got in all three nights, and then yeah, I was planned on racing East Coast, and then I think Jeremy Martin got hurt or something.
Yeah.
And they put me on the West Coast. And man, I was so nervous because you can even ask Coop, dude. Like Coop was my teammate at the time. And I don't think that I made it a full 15 laps before A1 hit. It was
no
literally
way.
So literally I would jump off the track. I would case these jumps. I would crash. I literally could not make it a solid 15, like full speed. I remember asking somebody if they thought I was going to do good. And they looked at me and was like, you know what? No. Like if you would have saw yourself at the practice track, like you would not even know you were training on Supercross. You would have thought it was your first day. It was comical, but
that's
ultimately
so awesome.
Ultimately, I think I got 6th in my first one, and then it took me a few more rough rounds, and then I podiumed one that year, and man, the podium felt like a championship win at that moment because
I believe
it was such a struggle at some points, and then some points were so much fun, and it was crazy. And yeah, I mean, to see how far along I've came from those days, it is insane. But it was
cool.
It was a rough start, but we worked hard at it.
Hey, that's all right. When the lights come on, my boy shows out.
Yep.
So what I want to talk about is I'm a dad now. I got two boys. Got a freshie that just was born on September 7th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And then you got a couple kids too, right?
Yeah, I got 3.
Okay. So, you got a boy, right? Do you have 2 boys and 1 girl, or 2 girls, 1 boy?
2 girls, 1 boy.
Yep.
14's the oldest girl.
Yep.
6 is Jake, and then 3 is Savannah, and they are rowdy.
No, not Aaron Plessinger. Plessinger's kids? No way. They're rowdy? I couldn't believe that. Okay, so I guess what I want to talk about is a little bit is like, as a dad, and I'm sure as a dad for you as well, is like, are you going to get your kid into racing dirt bikes. And I don't know where you're at on it, but I've been contemplating it a little bit. I definitely
Mm.
have him on a Stasic. He's only 2 and he like rides the Stasic and gasses it and he's on like the highest level and he just loves riding and he wants to be a motorcycle rider for Halloween, but obviously I could steer him in a different direction.
Mhm.
But like how was your relationship with your dad growing up in amateurs like till the pro level?
Yeah, mine. I think it was awesome. It was awesome. There were some scary times at points, but uh, like watching like other kids' dads, few of my close buddies' dads. My dad was so mellow
Yeah.
and chill, and um, I think it was a lot of it had to do with I was doing off road and uh, motocross at the time, and then I like he all he wanted to do, like I'm sure he wanted me to win for sure, but
Yeah.
a lot of it was he just wanted to see me do my best, and if I showed that, um, he was good. Like he was happy. He would obviously be bummed if I didn't do good or whatever, but
Mhm.
it was only times where I would physically just not put forth the effort,
Yeah.
and he would just kind of be like what are you doing, what are you doing out there, like I've seen you ride way better than this at the house, like what are you doing.
Yeah.
And that would really be the extent of like yelling or whatever. But I remember I remember one time we drove all the way out to Oak Hill. I think it was like 2007 or something like that, and
Yeah.
there was a double on top of the hill that you couldn't see the landing,
Yeah, you're
and
talking
I
about the
was
step down,
terrified.
right? Talking about that step down?
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yep.
Hated
And
that
you
fucking
couldn't
jump.
see the landing, dude. I did not jump that thing all week. We drove literally 18, 19 hours all the way to Oak Hill. I go and I didn't jump the jump all week and literally until the last moto of the week. And I'm telling you, dude, I've never been so scared in my life to come back to the trailer after I did that. I was terrified. And I mean, obviously in the beginning of the week, he was so pissed. He was like, "What are
Yeah.
you doing?" And and when I jumped it, he was like, "Dude, you you should have just kept not jumping it." He was like, you could see like he wanted to just pound me. And I dude, I don't know what it was when I was younger. I could not jump jumps. It takes me a while to jump a Supercross triple today.
Dude,
Like
that was
it
me
was.
when I was in my like growing up too, like amateurs. Like, dude, I would race the 250 novice class back in the day, and I would win,
Mhm.
and I wouldn't do a single double on the track. Would not do it. I hated it. And then it turns out, I get to my pro career and I'm like really good at jumping. Like, okay, here's a story for you. So I kind of started the road to Arenacross thing. Like I was the test dummy for those guys. The AMA director, Kevin Crowther,
Yep.
kind of he was like, okay, Adam, you're a big kid. We understand you guys don't got the money to build a 250 and you're just, it's a lot safer for you to go on the 450. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to implement this thing and we're going to get you to do 5 arena crosses and you got to make the mains. Well, that was back when arena cross was on 450s. So I am petrified. I mean, petrified because you know what happens at Arenacross. There's the gnarliest double in the history of fucking doubles. Okay. And like we pretty much, so I go out first time qualifying. I don't hit the double. Okay. Off the way off on time. Not even gonna make the night show. And my dad was just like, dude, what are you doing? We just drove 36 hours. You're not hitting the fucking double. You're fucking, what the fuck? We're going home. Your career's over. You're freaking done. This dream is done. And I'm like, oh shit, Pops is pissed. And I knew too, I knew that was like the turning moment. And it took me all the way to that point. And it was like weird how that day, second practice, it was my first ever Arenacross, and I hit the fucking double, second practice, and I iced it absolutely perfect, made the main, never even jacked it up one time, and from then on, it was, okay, you know what? You get to be a Supercross racer, and everything fell into place. And it's just like, it's funny how jumps are that big of a deal, even like at that age. If I wouldn't have done that double, I literally wouldn't have raced Supercross. That would have been it.
It's crazy. And it's crazy that it can take one instance like that, you hitting that double that first time, for you to be like, dude, I got this.
Yeah, I can do it.
And then it turns your whole your mindset, your confidence, your everything around. And yeah, like, I mean, you went from there to being a Supercross racer, and I don't know how long it took, but from that point on, it was
that year.
Game on.
It was that year. It was like I did that double, and then went to train on Supercross, and then 5 rounds later, I went to my very first Supercross and qualified. I think it was like 28th in the 450 class at Houston. And that was my first ever Supercross race, and I just jumped right into the 450s. So, I mean,
that is awesome, dude.
It's crazy how, that one turning point can make the difference. But, so like going back to the subject, because we got off on a little tangent. But
yep.
What would you say, what are you going to do with your kids? Are you just going to kind of you going to let your boy do whatever he wants to? If he wants to go pro, are you going to push him to go pro? And I guess the other question is like, what advice do you give to like the parents and the amateur kids coming up, like as a guy that's actually been to the top and, you've been through it? What advice would you give dads right now bringing their kids up through the amateurs?
Yeah, first off, like I would love for Jake to do, whatever he wants, whether it be, riding, which I have one of the KTM, the E3s, the electric bikes right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been taking him to Dade City every chance that I got, but he loves it. He rips around the house so fast, and like there was a point where he was riding so much there was a brown streak around my house from him just rolling.
Oh, that's awesome.
And especially when I got the E3, he was tearing the grass up, and I would love for him to do whatever he wants, like I got him a set of golf clubs too, and he likes that. So, So I'm just feeling him out. Like I just want him to pick one and just go for it. I know it's going to take a while, but I'd love for him to try everything. Cause that's what I did when I was a kid. My mom and dad put me in, T-ball when I was a kid, football, soccer, everything. And it turns out I was only good on 2 wheels.
That's so funny. I'm sure you were decent. Come on.
Dude, I tell you what, in T-ball, I couldn't hit the ball. It was standing still. It was standing still on a tee, and I would hit the tee before I hit the ball. And I had to hit the ball like 3 times before I made it go out into the field so I could run. And my dad was the coach of the team. My dad was coaching the team, and I was the worst one on the team.
Oh shit. Oh my God, that's so funny, dude. Pops is just like, dude, just stick to 2 wheels, bro. The fucking bat thing's not working, dude. Just put that thing away. We're gonna stop. Dad don't have to coach no more. Just Aaron, we're done, dude. Just do it. We tried.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So after 1 or 2 seasons of that,
1 or 2 seasons? Oh fuck, dude. We're gonna have to get Pops on the podcast to talk about the T-ball seasons. Oh shit.
Oh, dude. He would let you know.
Dedicated father right there.
Yeah, my length in football only lasted 1 day. So I was out after the first day of practice.
No way. What happened on your first day?
I promise, dude.
My God, I'm dying. I'm dying.
I can remember going out for a play, and then I came back. They told me to come back, and it was the end of summer, so it was still hot. And so I take my helmet off to get a drink of water, and dude, the coach lost his mind. Because I guess you're not supposed to take your helmet off until, a certain time, or like when, I didn't know. I was only like 6 years old.
You're like, bruh, I'm getting a drink of water. Chill out, coach. I just took my helmet off for a second.
The coach lost it. And then my mom lost it on the coach. And after that we left.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome.
That was the length of my football career. And but yeah. So I would love for Jake to do whatever he wants. I want to get him like he's starting flag football here soon. So hopefully his career lasts longer than mine did. But
well, you got good advice. Just tell if there's helmets, you know what I mean? Just keep your helmet on, dude. I don't think there's helmets. Yeah, I don't think there's helmets in flag football, but just Jake, just keep your helmet on, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell him whatever the coach tells you to do, you do it to a T.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so what? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the advice that I would have for mini dads would be don't put too much pressure on the kid. I think a couple of my best friends, their dads were pretty hard on them, and I believe that a lot of the early age stuff, like a lot of pressure and, just all this to win a race was, really, really forced upon them, which I think they didn't have as much fun as they could have.
Yep.
And I think that leads to, early retirement or not really wanting to do this sport anymore. Like, so to where mine was so different growing up. Like a lot of these kids, went to these training facilities when they were really young and just, grinded it out every day, training in and out. And the way I grew up was my dad would get a bunch of his buddies together, and then me and a bunch of their kids would, go somewhere, and say it would be Florida or Kentucky or whatever. And we'd ride for hours and hours and hours, dude. Like I'm talking almost ran out of gas a couple times. And
Damn.
um, I feel like that having that much fun, because it was so much fun just going there and riding with people. And a lot of the dudes were, professional and off road, and just to have those guys to ride with, and me learning from them, and them just, doing their thing, and me watching them, and taking after what they do, and not really having that pressure to win every single weekend, and every time I'm on the track, just go as fast as you can. It was just like, hey, let's go ride. And we would have so much fun, man. It was just a blast. And we were riding trails, whether it was motocross or whatever we were riding, we were just having fun. And there were, like, obviously there were some times where you had to put the motos in. And
Yeah.
that was the time when, like, I think that played a factor too. Like I could separate, you know, fun riding with real riding, or just like proper like motos.
Yeah.
So I've watched a lot of these kids come up and kind of fizzle out before they even turn pro, just because they're like, dude, I'm not having fun anymore. I don't like this anymore. It's
Yeah.
way too much on me. Like I I can't think. I can't, sleep, do this, whatever. And they're just in their head, because, there's so much pressure to win and just be perfect. It's like when I came up, I was everything but perfect.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it took me until I was 17 to know I was good enough to go pro. Like
Yeah.
I was just having fun with my buddies, and learning stuff that a lot of kids on motorcycles don't learn.
Yeah.
And um yeah, I just think my biggest piece of advice is just let kids have fun, man. Let kids have fun. Don't pressure them into, you know, anything. Um, just let them figure it out. And just, I don't know. My biggest thing is fun. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have fun. I try to have fun every time I'm on the track. Every time I'm off the track, I just, I don't know. That's just me, but I'm wired completely different than most of these guys are, and
Right?
and everybody can see it. So
Yeah. I mean, that's super apparent too. Like every time we see you, you got a smile on your face and you're having a good time. And I felt like that's how I was at the track as well. I was like, I felt really fortunate to be in the position that I was in. And, I did have a lot of pressure on myself from my dad. But, we
Mhm.
also had fun. We went to like Dove Springs and Ballinger, and we'd go on like family trips where like a group of 5 families would go to a OHV riding area for Thanksgiving, and we'd do like Mickey bombs and roast a turkey, and somebody would smoke the turkey, and we'd all go out and have fun and just ride around. And we did a little bit of everything. And I think it's a really good point you brought up, where the kids just feel like they have so much pressure on them, because part of this sport isn't just performing and having that performance pressure on you, but it's also dealing with the injuries. Like you could be Ryan Dungey, but like that's one in a bajillion. And
Mhm.
like if you add the pressure of your dad, you add the pressure of having to win every moto, and then you have all that plus you can get hurt riding a dirt bike. I mean, that's just you're setting your kid up to never want to ride again. And like riding is fun. Like it's super fun.
100%, 100,000%. It is so much fun. Like to this day, I've had more fun on a dirt bike than I ever have than when I haven't been on a dirt bike.
Yeah, totally.
It's just like those trips you're talking about, like just going out and you're so free. I don't know, like when you're on those kind of just trail rides or whatever, and you're
Yeah.
doing what you want on your dirt bike, and you're just hanging out and you're doing something that you love. And then too, like I I always tell kids and stuff when they come up and ask me for my autograph, or like um if they ask me for advice, I always tell them, to keep having fun,
Yep.
because once you lose the fun, uh, you turn into a different person. And most people can't cope with that,
Yeah.
like can't deal with that. There's only few people on this earth that can, you know, endure that, like
Yeah.
Ryan Villapoto and Dungy. He was an exception. He usually looked like he was having a good time, but um you know Cooper and Eli and James, until, I mean, if you didn't see James, like in behind the scenes, if
Yeah.
you only saw him at the racetrack, uh, you would think they all were miserable people,
Right.
because they never smiled. They usually, you only see them on race day, and they just beeline and go straight from the truck to the bike to signing autographs, and then to the race, and then on the podium.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, because like I've known Cooper Webb for, mm, I want to say, since I was like, maybe 9 or something like
Oh
that.
wow, that's a long time.
And yeah, so I have such a different view on him than most of like the fans and stuff,
Yeah.
because we've had fun together. He's an awesome dude. Like he's one of my best buddies, and uh it it kills me online, like when I see comments that say he's like a mad individual or whatever, and I'm like, dude, that's just him. Like that's just him on race day. He's been
Yeah.
the same way since he was 15. It's just Cooper. And yeah, it's wild. But yeah, only few people can endure, like, not having, I don't want to say a good time on a dirt bike, because I know they're having a good time when they're winning. I
Yes.
know
We know
these
that.
dudes
Yeah.
have, and yeah, it's crazy. I have never got it, how they do it, because I can never do it.
Yeah.
I give them props, because I can never do that, and like keep on doing this, because I've always said, the day I stop having fun is the day that I'm done riding a dirt bike.
Yeah.
And up until this point, I've been having a lot of fun. And
Heck,
the last year
heck
has
yeah,
been
you have.
so much fun. So, uh,
Yes.
yeah, it's important for these kids to have fun too, though, because yeah, once it hits the pro level, it's a different beast.
Yep. Okay, so let's move this thing forward. Let's talk about how many. So you got a Supercross championship at Star, and
Yep,
then
yep.
did you get a motocross championship as well?
Yeah. Both same year in 2018.
Yep, I remember that. You were freaking on fire. Um, so you won those Supercross championships. Did that change anything for you personally, or did that just solidify that you were the guy that you thought you were?
Uh, yeah, I mean, it didn't really change anything. To to be honest, it honestly made me uh, be more like myself,
Yeah.
really. Like,
Yep.
because it did solidify that I was the real, like, I was one of the real guys. And I, before that, I was almost like, man, is this for me? Like, is this like, because I would go, in 16, 15, 16, and 17, I would have a good race, and then I'd have such like a bad race, and then I'd have a good race, and then I'd have a bad race. And I remember sitting at like some nights I was like, man, what do I
Fuck.
need to do?
Yeah.
What do I need to do to not have these bad nights?
Yeah.
And just like thinking like, is this really the sport that I want to do? And then leading up to 2018, um, I really don't know what I did different. It was just like I was just having such a good time, man. I was having so much fun just riding and like I said, just hanging out with my buddies and keeping it light at the track, not too much
Yeah.
pressure. And man, it just, something clicked that year, and I was on it, and I was on fire. And then after the championships, man, it made it easy. Like, it made it easy to go to the races and not have, not be all in my head and be like, man, what am I doing? What did I do everything right? Did I do this right? It was just, I would go to the track, I would do my thing, and I would go to the gate, rock up to the gate, and I just would be in the zone already.
Yeah.
And yeah,
The
that year
belief,
was
yeah, the belief was there after that for sure.
yeah, it was 100% the belief, the confidence was there, the having a lot of fun was just my way of doing it. And that, I think that year I found that out. I
Yeah.
found out that, I didn't have to put all, like, I didn't have to put winning on my plate to go and win. I could
Yeah.
just have fun and sign autographs for 2 hours, and then get on my bike and go out, do my thing. And then that'd be the end of the night.
Totally.
I,
Totally.
yeah, before that, I was just like sitting in the truck thinking like, oh, I'm going to get a good start. I'm
Ah!
going to do this. I'm going
Yeah,
to do
yeah, yeah.
this. Like, go ahead and jump that triple. Like, I'm gonna hit this corner so good, dude. Like, and then I'd go out there and I'd be like, what am I doing? Like, I'm freaking,
Squid life.
I'm down on the ground. Like, so,
That's so
but
amazing.
yeah, after that, I was just having fun.
Yep.
And then, um, yeah, that was 2018 in a nutshell right there. Just having fun, living life, and just being me.
Yep.
It was amazing.
Okay, so we had that amazing 250 championship year. Okay,
Mm.
then we go to Star 450. So, um, I don't know. I don't know where to start with this. It's like we know the bike at that point wasn't perfect, right? The older Yamaha definitely, I mean, I don't know because I wasn't riding that bike, but there was rumors
Mhm.
and things going around like they're having a tough time with the bike. You came off the 250, you were flying, and then you started struggling a little bit when you got onto that 450. Maybe not, I wouldn't say struggling. I would say like not where I expected you to be with your talent. And then so how many years did you ride for Star on 450?
Yeah, so the first 2 years, I was on 450 in 19 and 20. Uh, Factory Yamaha still owned it. And then in
Okay.
21, Bobby took it over, so it was Star.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
yeah, dude, those first 2 years were a struggle for sure.
So
It was
go ahead.
it was gnarly. Just like now, the bike itself, I I can't I can't really put like a finger on what made it so hard to ride.
Yeah.
But man, I got off my 250 and everything was perfect. It was basically designed for me. That's how it felt like
Yep.
when I rode.
Yep.
It felt effortless and it felt so good, and it would do everything that I wanted to do, and I could put it wherever. And then I go to the 450 and it is definitely not like that. It was, I would go to the track every day, and I'd still be pumped to ride at first, and
then you'd
then
be like, what
as
the
time,
fuck am I doing? I suck. What's wrong with the bike?
yes,
Just everything.
dude. I remember the first maybe the first two months I was on the thing. I cracked I think 3 helmets.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Seriously?
It was, yeah, dude. And it was just like, some of them were like, no. One of them was my fault. I stood on the back brake off of face of a jump and I endoed. And yeah, that was the first one. And then,
Shit.
yeah. And then, getting that thing to turn was so hard. And I remember coming off we had this, at Yamaha, we had this finish line jump and then right into a sharp 90.
Yep.
And man, I landed off that thing and I was setting up to turn. And I remember I don't know what happened, but the front wheel went out from under me and boom, smacked my head so hard and cracked another helmet. And then, yeah, I just don't know to pinpoint why the bike was so hard to ride. I don't know.
Yeah, and
But
it's like that stuff is so hard too because you know he can do it. Or the team can do it because you had the 250. And like that had to be a struggle too, right? Is like you're like, dude, the 250 and the 450 can't be that much different. Like, how come we can't get this to work?
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like, I would say, what is so different about this bike? And they were like, dude, like, we can take the motor and put it in this frame, and it's the same.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, well, why doesn't it act the same then? Like, what is going on? And like, obviously, we had that factory Yamaha. We had different, suspension guys and different parts on the bike, and then it was a lot heavier than the 250, and yeah, just different things. But I my rookie season got cut short. I ended up shattering my heel at Daytona, and
I remember that on that rhythm section. Fuck.
Yeah, that was gnarly. Like like I'm fortunate because it could have ended up a lot worse than
what it was.
Did. I'm super lucky to have landed on my feet and not my head or anything else. And in that sense, like I was very fortunate. But
Aaron, dude, I'm gonna just pause really quick for 1 second. Just remember your thought though. Okay, so so I have a story about that. I mean, it's not even funny. It's not really funny, but it was like we were at Daytona because I was there that day. You know what I mean? I was still racing. And I remember watching you, and my team manager was like, right before that, he's like, dude, you got to do that section. And I remember watching you hit that shit and breaking your heels. And I was like, nope, no fucking way. No way. I'm fucking done. I think I was like 10 feet away from you when you did that.
Dude,
Like,
it
I
was
was just
so
like, you've got to be
gnarly.
like, that was the dumbest section because it was like a long straightaway into a rhythm, right? And you had to go like three off of like a little single up over a tall one and then quad, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it was like, oh man, it was the three, it was like a ski jump face
Yes.
into a steep one. You would three, and then you would table onto the next table
Yes.
and then off. And
Dude,
dude,
was it actually a single table that time, or was it just a
it
table to
was,
table?
yeah.
It was. It was a
No,
table,
yeah. It was a table, single
table.
table.
Yeah, for all you fucking fans out there, I don't care how you add it up. That's 5, motherfucker. They were making us do a 5. Okay? Fucking 5. Oh,
Oh,
I'm
dude.
gonna pull up the replay on the fucking podcast. I'm gonna pull that up somehow. That was just some of the shit these guys make is just unbelievable. I love you,
It's
Dirtworks guys,
crazy.
but what the fuck? We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
anyways, your rookie season got cut short. You shattered your heel.
Yep. I shattered my right heel, and then dude, after that, it was a long process. It was I got surgery real quick, and then dude, I think it was maybe 3 weeks or 4 weeks after the surgery. The incision wasn't healing, and
Oh my
it was like dying all around.
gosh.
It was wild. Like, I have some pictures. I'll send them to you.
Yeah.
But my dude, there was like a half-inch scab. Like, it was tall, like a half-inch tall, and then probably 3 to 4 inches long
Yeah.
on my heel. That was literally just black, and I knew something wasn't right.
Yeah.
But the surgeon that did my heel, uh, I got an email like 2 weeks after he did my surgery, um, that he had been fired, let go from the hospital for
What?
some odd reason, dude. I I went in for the second checkup,
Are you
and
kidding
he
me?
told me, I swear, dude, I literally went in for the second checkup, told me everything was all good, sent me on my way, and then probably a week later, 2 weeks later, I got an email, and it said, "Yeah, this guy has been let go. If you need anything, you still are welcome here, but your doctor is not here anymore." And I was like, um, okay.
Uh, I've never fucking heard of that in my entire life.
Yeah, yeah. I was so confused, and like, and I didn't really know what to do. And um I so I was training with Barsha at the time.
Yeah.
So I was out in California, got the surgery done, and then at that point, like after I got that, I was like, well, shoot, like now I need to go home. I need to go home and find somebody there who can, see me. So I go home. I'm in Tallahassee at the time.
Yep.
I get this doctor's number. I go see him, and he's like, "Dude, we need to get you into a skin specialist like right now." And I kind
What?
of started freaking out. Yeah, so I started freaking out. I was just like, "What do you mean? Like, what's wrong
What's
with
wrong?
it?" He was
What?
like,
Yeah.
"Dude,
What's the
skin."
deal?
Yeah, he was like, the skin is trying to heal under the scab. He was like, right now, your skin is trying to heal and push this scab out. And if it heals like that, you're going to have a divot in your foot. Like, you're going to have a significant hole right here. And
Wow.
I was like, oh, shit, that's not good. So he found me
Oh
the skin
shit. Yeah.
specialist.
Yeah. That's definitely not
And
good.
Like I was tripping,
Yeah.
and I was freaking out. So it gets me in there, dude. They peel this scab off,
Yeah.
and I'm talking. This thing is as deep as it is wide. Like it is probably a half inch deep, and
Wow.
they scrape this thing, and it starts bleeding, and it's hurting, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
um, they said they're gonna have to pack it with bleach, and it was like a bleach kind of solution or something, and it was gonna heal from the inside out because it hadn't closed yet. And
Oh my
he was like,
gosh.
dude, you're so lucky that you came here right now. He was like, if you would have waited a week longer, he was like, they would have had to take the metal out of your foot, redo the surgery, and you'd be back to where you were, like
Oh my
like
gosh.
pre-op. and man, so that was like that put me on hold right there. Like
Yeah.
I was not doing anything. I was just I couldn't do anything. I had a freaking massive hole in my foot. So
Yeah.
uh a couple weeks go by. I'm, changing the bandage or whatever, and I go back every week or two to have him scrape it again and put the bandage back on, and I get to where I'm cycling,
Yep.
and this was probably a month after I had seen him.
Mm-hmm.
I get cycling, and then one day, I was on my way to cycle. I had my bike in the back of the truck. I was going to go to the doctors, have them scrape it, and then go mountain bike.
Yep.
I get in there, and he scrapes it, and then he goes, "Hey, you're not going to like this. We're going to have to put a soft cast on you again."
Oh
And he
my
was like, "It's not
God.
healing like it should." It was. He said I had to spend 3 weeks in this soft cast. So, dude, I remember that day to a T, because after he did that, man, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to freaking do anything anymore.
Yeah. Like
Like I was
what are
just
we
like,
gonna do?
yeah, it was at that point, it had been 3 months since the injury.
Yeah.
And dude, I had Keith McCarty calling me like, "What the hell's going on down there? What are you guys doing? Is that
Yeah.
thing not healed yet? Like, you need to get back on." And I was like, dude, I kind of freaked out. I was like, dude, I have a hole in my foot. I was like, I can see your picture right now. And I did. And he was like, whoa. He's like, okay.
Yeah. You have a doctor's note.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Fuck.
get that thing fixed.
Yeah.
And
Get that thing
so,
taken care of, bud.
yeah. So that day that he put the soft cast on me, I literally went home,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I sat in the backyard in my pool for probably like 3 hours, and just
Wow.
didn't do anything.
Fuck.
And just like at that point, I was just like depression set in almost. Yeah, it was just like
what are you even?
a
What are
punch in
we
the
even?
gut.
Yeah. What are we gonna do from here on out? What's the plan? Because it was like before all the injuries are kind of like, okay, you get back going, you're hurt, you take 4 months off, you're back on the bike. And this one was like, okay, just got on, the toughest bike to ride in my career so far. We just stepped up to the 450 class. I now shattered my foot. I'm trying to get this thing healed. It won't heal. It won't heal. And now, even when it does heal, I got to get back on this bike that is already difficult to ride, and then try to start my career in the 450 class pretty much from ground zero. What am I going to do? If I can even ride, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. And I, I kept in contact with Barsha.
Yep.
I only lived like 20 minutes from him, so I would go over there and hang out and do whatever. And he would just tell me like, dude, this I can't ride it. Like it's so bad. And I was coming back to that. I was just like, what are we gonna do? And so after he put the soft cast on me, I think it was like 3 weeks went by and he took it off and he finally cleared me to ride. So that next day I was like, all right, I'm getting ready. I'm gonna go out and bust out motos. And meanwhile, I'm riding at Justin Barsha's track, Bamland, with
the gnarliest track ever.
Dude, 120-foot jumps, and I'm just coming back from a shattered heel.
My boy's like, get me on the 50 track. Yo, Barsha, you got a 50 track or something? Like a turn track? What do we got?
I was like, literally, can I ride on your driveway for a little bit?
Oh shit, that's so funny. Oh, fuck.
So yeah, I rode for, I think it was like 3 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
And I called Jim Roach, and I was like, hey, I'm ready.
It's time.
And he was like, all right, well, we'll set you up Southwick. You're ready to go. And oh man, I think I qualified. I literally think I qualified 34th at that round.
I mean, just okay, for all you listeners that don't really know, B practice goes first at Southwick. So like the 450 guy in B practice, which usually qualifies around, what would you say, like 15th to 25th, qualifies like first most of the time. So so you had a lot going against you because there at Southwick, they prepped the track perfectly flat. And by literally the second practice, like not the second practice, second round of practice, but by the second practice, it's already seconds slower, you know? So you came back to probably the worst track you could come back to is what you're trying to tell us?
The worst track possible. And not to mention, it was freaking 95 degrees out, midsummer.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just out there, man. I think I went.
I'm just out there, man.
Dude, I was just like, I couldn't tell you who I was battling with. I don't remember, like, but I think, oh man, what did I get? I think I got 18th, or I think one moto I got 18th, one moto I got like 23rd. And I think I ended up like 20th overall, something like that.
Yeah.
But
that's not bad though.
But yeah, it wasn't like it went a lot better than what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, especially for Southwick.
Yes, I was like, and when I tell you I was just out there, like the last 2 laps, bro, I was cruising. I mean, I'm talking
barely
like
enough gas. Yeah, barely enough gas to make it around the track without getting too squirty.
Oh, dude, yeah. And safe to say I lost my footing a couple times during those 2 motos.
Oh, shit. Okay, so that kind of sums up. I think that's a great sum up of kind of like how we lead into Team KTM, right? So, so this is kind of the things that made Aaron and made you kind of decide like, hey, you know, I know they can do it on the 250. I know Star Racing is a great team, but with the things that have happened and how things are going, I think it's best for me to make a change. Is that kind of where you were at?
Yeah, like I had a lot of fun in 21, and I got my first 450 podium and whatever, and the bike was it was riding good, but it was almost like, I felt there was a need for change.
Yeah, because I remember that last year on the Yamaha, you really started to kind of put things together.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. Again, like, those 2 years at Factory Yamaha, and then the third year at Star, it was almost like I started over, and
Mm-hmm.
I went back to, my rookie like habits. And then the second year was the same, and then the third year on Yamaha, I started figuring it out, and people started looking at me again, and I got a few podiums, and then I think 3 podiums outdoors, and man, it was just a solid year. But I ultimately got hurt at Unibill. I freaking did the Larry loop out on the gravity cavity.
Yep.
And hurt myself, so I couldn't finish the season. But before that, KTM had talked to me. And
How did that transpire? Like, how did Roger approach you? Did Ian Harris approach you? Like, how and when did that happen?
So my 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 agent, Lance Langston,
Okay.
he's really good buddies with Ian and Roger, and they approached him about getting me. And we set up a meeting, and we talked, and man, I was game for it. It
Hell
was
yeah.
it was like
Yep.
I had a really,
Just
really
like
good
that.
conversation with them. And yeah, I just had a really, really good conversation with them. And at first I was a little skeptical on coming to Alden's, because I thought he was going to make me cut my hair.
No,
And
you did not think that.
dude, I thought about it. I did. I was
Welcome to
scared,
military camp, Aaron. This is Alden Baker, and you
dude.
got to cut your hair. You got to shave it bald.
That's exactly what I thought. I literally thought. And then what was it? He actually called me one day, Alden did, and we had another really, really good conversation, me and him.
Yeah.
And man, after that, I didn't think twice about it. I was just like, all right, let's go. I'm ready to rumble.
Yep.
And dude, like, after that, like, once I switched, man, KTM and all the people there, they took me in like one of their own, and I think they resonated with my personality a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they had somebody like that around
Mm-hmm.
before, like
Yeah.
myself. And at first they were like, what's he doing? I think, because they, like, dude, literally
Yeah, like,
Ian
who
and
is this guy,
Roger.
bro?
Yeah, like Ian and Roger, they couldn't look at me without laughing. And I was just like having a good time
Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah.
And then obviously KTM came out with that new bike that year, and that was a bit of a struggle at first. But once we figured that out, man, it's been so fun. And then obviously too, in 22, I ended up breaking my wrist, and I was out um, until outdoors. I think I started outdoors.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I started outdoors that year, and then I went on to get a couple podiums in outdoors. And, man, after that, they went to work, dude. They went to work. Like, they figured this bike out like no other.
Just all
Like,
hands on deck.
And yeah, it was just like the riders weren't happy, so it was a little slow at first, just in the fact that it was brand new. Like, there was limited parts and this and that, but dude, once they got everything they needed, like the last 2 years have been so fun.
That's awesome.
They've been so much fun.
Okay,
man.
so,
Like, especially this year was so much fun.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on.
Yep.
Because we obviously know the switch to KTM, but we know now the switch to KTM, but what we want to talk about on Track Talkers is the most, I think, fan agreeable. We'll take a poll on this, but the most devastating moment all Supercross fans have ever witnessed, and that was the day that Aaron Plessinger threw it away in Detroit on the last lap. I think absolutely every fan in the world was just as sad as you were that night. I mean, everybody, I felt like there wasn't a single person that wasn't cheering for you in the stands and on TV. And that was probably one of the biggest moments for you, in the fact that, like, you finally, like, this is what we grow up as kids. Like, this is the ultimate prize, right? There's two. There's 450 championship, and then there's a 450 Supercross win, right? And in that moment, like, take us through the main event, and then take us through the thoughts right before the crash and after the crash.
Yeah. So, before the main started, like, man, I was feeling so good. I don't know what it was about
good.
That night, but
you look good,
dude. I was feeling so good, and I went out for the hot lap, and I came back and I knew what I wanted to do, and I said, Jade, just go one click slower on the rebound on my shock, and we're good. And he did that, and I got the best start.
Yes.
Other than AC, I got the best start. Like, it felt so good when I took off, and AC beat me to the first corner, but
fuck you.
I was
don't
just
even
like
matter.
locked in.
Yes.
At that moment, I was just like, all right, I'm up here. Let's go. And I mean, when I went by him in the whoops, I was just like, all right, here it is. Time to sprint. And man, I just was looking back at those guys, because I think it was like Coop and Barsha and Eli and Kenny, literally all battling.
Yeah.
And they're behind me. And I was just clicking off lap after lap. And I would look back. After I passed the mechanics, and they'd fall back even more. And I was like, dude, like, when are they gonna, kick it into gear and start catching me?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm just keep doing what I'm doing. So lap went around, and nobody kept catching me. And then Chase, I think when he got into second, he started, knocking off the gap just a tiny bit,
a pinch,
and just a little bit here and there, and I was like, all right, I'm good. We probably got like 5 laps to go or something.
Yeah.
And so I'm just chilling, and then we start catching lappers, and I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. The lines are starting to deteriorate, whatever. I'm like, cool. And then I get the 2 lap board.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, all right, this is it.
I got it.
I'm going I got it. I got this. And I, went by Jade, and I'm cool, and I'm just, doing my thing, flowing and hit the double and hit the rhythm sections, and I'm coming down the one of the last rhythm sections, and I messed up the triple. In, and I had to go double, triple, I think triple, and then I would single.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And I was passing Justin Hill.
Yep. I remember watching
I was like,
that.
all right. Yeah, I was like, all right, there's Hill. I was like, let me just stand right here so I don't hit him like when I lean my shoulder.
Yeah.
So I jumped into the rut just a little bit. And then as soon as I left the face of the jump, man, my foot caught.
Oh.
And I was like, no. My heart sank. And I was just like, no. And that whole next thing was like in slow motion where I just hit, and then my wheels hit. They were still straight up and down, and then my knees hit the ground. And when my knees hit the ground, it brought me back, and it made me pin the bike. So my bike went wide open off, and then I did like a front flip thing, and I just smacked the ground.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no. And then I get up, I sit on the hay bale for a second. I was like, no, I got to go. And so I went and tried to pick my bike up, and I see it smoking, and I didn't know what I did, like what happened. But all I know, I was sitting on it, and I was like, it was just smoking.
Yeah.
And I looked up, and I saw Ian, and he was looking at me, and he just had like a concerned look on his face.
Yeah.
And I was like, all I could say was just like, I looked up and I was just like, I'm sorry. And then I started my bike, and it ran. But at that point, I had waited around so long that the boys had lapped me, and I went and I just crossed the finish line, and I was just in disbelief. It was just like I was that close to making this thing happen, and I did it to almost to the last lap. Yeah. And nobody caught me, and I could have, putzed around for the next few corners or the next lap and had a Supercross win right there. And all that was just going through my mind, and I was just like, oh man, that sucks. And then rolling off the track, like, yeah, everybody came up to me, whatever, and then I'm freaking, sobbing, and Jade hops on the back, and he's like, all right, dude, just let's go back to the truck. And then I passed Jason Thomas, and he was like, you want to do that, or you want to do an interview? He was like, it's perfectly fine if you don't. Like, I know what you're going through right now. And I was like, all right, yeah, let's do it. Like, whatever. Yeah. And in that interview, like, it was hard. It was hard to get the words out at first. And then, like, I don't know, just like halfway through the interview, I was like, man, this feels like a really sad interview. And I was like, I got to turn it around somehow. And that's when I was like, you know what? I'm not down, and I'm not out. I was like, I may be down, but I ain't out. So I'm going to get back up on that horse, and I'm going to ride it out. I was like, I'm not done yet. Ew! So yeah. I was just like, man, I was that close, and to have that happen is very unfortunate, but
yeah,
to know now that I'm a part of the top 5 boys, like, and I can win.
And not just like, I think the point that you made though that is so important to us as riders is it was like you didn't just win because, you know, a couple guys got hurt or the right riders fell down. I mean, you fucking put it down lap after lap and you had the speed. And I think that's what I took away, and that's what all the fans took away from that night is like Aaron Plessinger has arrived in the 450 class. Like, yeah, he didn't win, but he's the real deal. He's got the speed, you know, and that is something that maybe 5-6 guys can say in the entire world, that they have the speed to be the fastest 450 guy on the track.
Yeah. And that, just that, like we were talking earlier, like, it gave me such a confidence boost to know that.
Yeah.
And to really bring that to the table. And like, I can't remember what the rest of my finishes were that last year, but just knowing that going forward, I was so happy. Like, to be in that spot and to have that kind of ride to where you didn't win, but everybody around me was like, you won tonight.
Yeah. A change happened. Yeah. A change happened for sure that night. I felt it.
Yeah.
And I think all the Supercross fans felt it. Your team felt it. It was different.
Yeah. And it was just a good feeling. Like, when I got back to the truck and everybody was like, you had it. You had that in the bag. Like, tonight you won. Like, nobody can take that away from you. You ran away from these guys and you showed what you have. And now let's take that to the next race and then let's go. Yeah. And that's kind of what turned my night around, because obviously I could have let it fester and just be like, man, what an idiot. Like, why did I do that? This and that, and just be down on myself.
Yeah.
Or I could have, take the positives and move on and not think about what just happened. Just know that you're there.
Yep.
And that's pretty much what I did.
Yep. All right. So we went from the worst moment in Supercross history, okay, to now. And worst moment in Supercross history, I hope you know, Aaron, that means like most heartbreaking moment for everybody. Not like, you know what I mean? I would say, can you even think of a more heartbreaking moment where everybody was cheering for somebody to win? Or even like any kind of moment? I can't think of any other one. That was it. That's going to go down in history. Okay, now let's fast forward to the greatest moment of Supercross in 2024, San Diego SX, baby. Okay, start us like, what did you eat for breakfast? What do we got to do to make sure that happens again?
Bro, I consistently pancakes, eggs, and bacon, dude. That's it. Literally, that is the deal right there. That's my race day breakfast every race day.
Okay.
Pancakes, eggs, and bacon.
Okay. So that's what we had for breakfast in SD. How did practice go? And then it rained that night too, right?
Yeah. So, so practice, I think we got the free practice and then we got the first practice. And then I think, I don't know. Maybe I was somewhere between 9 and 11.
Yeah.
Let's say that 9, 10 or 11, somewhere around there.
Yep.
And I think it started raining And I was like, I think somebody came up to me and was like, do you want to do second practice? And I was like, no, dude. Like
Hell
no,
no.
like, let's just call it right now. So I'm pretty sure they asked us and I really don't think we did second practice. I could be wrong, but I don't know that we did a second like time practice.
Yeah.
And
even if you did, it wouldn't have mattered because you wouldn't have got a faster time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, after practice, it started freaking downpouring, like raining so hard. And then it stopped. The dirt track or the dirt works guys did their thing. And then, I want to say, I can't remember the heat race, honestly.
Perfect. It doesn't even matter.
Remember.
Doesn't even matter. Let's go. Let's skip to the main.
Either way.
Yep.
Either way, I was feeling good.
Yep. Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. So I remember picking a gate and somehow, I ended up on, middle right-hand side. It was a right-hand corner. So, and I just knew I was going to get a good start. I just had something feeling really good. And dude, I nailed the start, come out P3, and I get behind Kenny. I pass Barsha, I get behind Kenny.
Yep.
And then I'm pushing Kenny, and I hear the fans start to get loud. And dude, Kenny did that endo on that 353.
Yep.
And at that point, I was like, all right, let's go. I was like,
let's get it, boys.
Here. Like, I ain't letting it go this time. And I saw Coop behind me.
Yep.
And I was coming up on lappers, and I saw the number 3. I was like, cannot believe I'm lapping him right now. That's insane. Like, I've never in my life thought I would do this. So,
that's fucking awesome.
I go around him, and the next thing I know is, dude, somebody is on my butt, and it is a Yamaha. And I forgot Eli was there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just forgot. And I thought it was Coop. So I start freaking out. I'm riding like as hard as I can. Yes, dude, I'm starting to ride like him. I'm just like in and out of every corner. I'm like, I gotta go. And then I come over the finish line. I look behind me. It's freaking Eli, and we're pulling away from Coop. And I'm like, let's go. And so, yeah, another few laps click off, and then Coop's starting to put down the hammer, and I see that, and then I don't know, I just got my groove, and I just kept going along, and I think Coop and Chase got in a little, tiff there, and then, dude, I come around for the last lap, and I'm thinking like, all right, just be chill.
Yeah, cool.
Just be chill.
Not
like,
a big deal. Just the last lap.
Just do not do anything that's gonna put you on the ground. So I'm doubling this, doubling that, and then I get to the whoops, and dude, I'm like so scared. I think I just rolled through the whoops the last lap. Just and dude, I come around that corner, and I hit the on off, and I shit you not, I could not hear my bike. The fans were screaming so loud.
Oh my gosh, dude, that just gave me goosebumps. Holy
dude, they were cheering
crap.
so loud. And I turned the left-hand corner, I hit the triple, and I just couldn't not look. I couldn't keep my focus on straight. So I jumped and I looked, and dude, everybody's standing up, and just cheering. And
Wow.
oh man, it's giving me the chills. And then I went by after that. I hit the little double and I went by the mechanics area and I look over and and Jade wrote on the pit board, "I love you." Dude. And then I went over the finish line and man, it was insane, man, how loud the fans got. And like, I don't know, I never, I mean, I know there's mad amount of California fans, dirt bike fans. It's like the mecca of the motocross, but I never thought that I would be like a fan favorite out there. And just to like when I drop, dude, I don't know. It just never like it never like resonates with me like how I don't know how I never like thinking of myself as like this huge thing because I never want my head to get big and I just want to, always keep grounded. So when that happened, man, it didn't catch me off guard, but it just like it brought so many emotions because there were so many people cheering for me and just like still standing up as I went and I rode around and dropped my bike in the start and just like, man, they went AWOL. And to me, I was just like, finally, this has came to fruition. Like that monkey is off the back and now I can just move forward knowing that, this is something that I've accomplished. And man, dude, I still get speechless when I'm talking about it because it just like whenever I think about it, my mind goes blank. It's crazy. It's just
I'm
insane.
like, I'm there right now. I'm like, I have such a big smile on my face. Like just even thinking about that moment and your interview on the track and the excitement and the look on your face and just the story behind it from Detroit to, now knowing about your heel and all the stuff that happened to get to this point. And then for you to win that Supercross main and look over on the triple and see, and then realize like, oh my gosh, there's hundreds of thousands of people that are supporting me and want to see me win. And just to see all that moment, that exact time collectively come together at the finish line of that Supercross race is fucking incredible.
Yeah. It was really, really incredible. And I mean, they say everything happens for a reason and I'm a big believer in that. And I think that night at, Detroit was, supposed to happen like that.
Yeah.
And then so that this San Diego could be
that moment
like it was.
Yeah.
That moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, it's crazy. Like I said, it just gets me speechless. I just, man, I just smile when I think about it.
Okay. So time has been flying by. Holy crap. So, I have a few more questions for you. We'll run through it real quick.
Yep.
So you mentioned that MX of Nations was like a total all-out war. What was that experience like?
Dude, man, I've been to Nations before, and like it over there, it is just so different. It is insane. I mean, the people are in their element. This year we were more kind of on top of things. Like last year, I was having a grand old time with the fans and I was just hooting and hollering everywhere. And this year I told myself, I was like, all right, I'm going to be on my game.
Yeah.
And that, which I was, but dude, it's like when I went out for the hot lap, right? What was I was the second and third moto.
Yeah.
When I went out for my hot laps, dude, they had these smoke bombs, right? And dude, I'm telling you, it was everywhere. It was impossible to see. Like Coop came off the track, and we were laughing at it later in the night, and I was like, dude, I couldn't go. I was like in the middle of the track, and I was hitting the brakes, like trying to creep over and see where I was going, because these smoke bombs were so thick. And I was like, they're gonna have to cancel the race. I was like, it's done. And lo and behold, the wind kicked it up and carried it off, and the smoke bombs were done. But dude, just in that weather, right? In that like overcast, cloudy, like rainish weather.
Yep.
Between the smoke bombs and being in a different country, and just like the different gates and this and that, and just the atmosphere itself, it made me think I was getting ready for like war. Made me think like rewind, 100 plus years, and I'm in freaking the World War. I'm just like, and that
You're
was
not
my
even
mindset.
kidding.
That was
You're not even kidding.
I was legit. I was like, I was so nervous and just so like, let's get this thing going.
Yeah.
The adrenaline was so high that, the first start, it was insane. Like, yep. I was so locked in, ready to go. And the gate dropped, I let out the clutch, and I knew I had the jump. And then somebody came to my inside and like kind of pushed me a little bit. But dude, when I went on the gate, I was like, this is for America, baby. This ain't no nothing. Like, I was in that state of mind where I was like, all or nothing. And, wow. I got out there, and I did my best, and I think I finished like 7-8 or something like that, or 7-9 or something like that. And man, it was just like against the best riders in the world, and in their element. Yeah. It is so intimidating.
Yeah.
It is so intimidating, and like, but at the same time, it's so much fun.
Yep.
It was so much fun, like getting to see fans that you never get to see, like literally never. And they're there, and they want to see you. And that was another thing. Like, I know there's Instagram, and a lot of people, watch worldwide, but everybody over there was pumped to see me. And that felt good. Felt like, I was just like, man, it's insane. It's insane. And that somebody across, on the other side of the world could be cheering for me when I'm racing. It's I don't know. That's just what I think about. But I did come home with a rather unique gift. Some dude, I think he had a bright orange jacket on. I think it was like a fan of the Netherlands team or something like that.
Yep.
He made me clogs.
No way. Wooden shoes, dude. Like legit?
Full legit wooden shoes. They say AP7 on them. They got Red Bull KTM, dude.
Bro, are you wearing them right now? Are they're like wearable?
No, they are wearable. But I put them on, and I literally walked maybe 70 feet. And I get in the little trailer, And they're like, "Oh, dude, are they comfy?" And I was like, "Dude, no. I almost got a blister walking over here, bro."
I mean, yeah, I guess I would have thought they would have been somewhat comfortable, but I guess it makes sense if you're walking on a hard piece of wood, right?
Yeah. Like if they're like molded to your feet, yeah, like I could see that. But I was walking like I was like 80 years old, just trying to, get to the house.
And too, you're not like me, AP. You don't have like a little extra chub and meat on you, where your feet might have a little cushion. You're like skin and bones, bro. There ain't no cushion on that foot pad. You know what I mean?
Oh no, and they are flat as all get out. So they are bone on wood. That is literally what they are.
I love it. That is so funny. Okay, all right, so I have a few questions for you, some quickie questions, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up. Okay, first question.
Perfect.
First question: chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
Oh, okay.
I'm a big vanilla guy.
Okay. McDonald's or Taco Bell?
Oh, Taco Bell, son.
Let's go!
Live on Taco Bell.
What's the order?
Literally
What's the Taco Bell
Bell
order?
Now, because I'm still with it. They got these grilled cheese steak burritos.
Oh,
I get 2 of those, and then a Crunchwrap Supreme with no tomato, and a large Baja Blast.
Oh my gosh, what an order! That's the AP for all you guys out there. That's the AP. If you get that, just go to Taco Bell. Be like, I want the AP. They'll know what you're talking about. Okay.
We call that the San Diego.
Yep. Let's go. That's awesome. Okay. Cheeseburger or pizza?
That is tough, but I'm gonna have to go pizza because rarely can you mess up pizza.
It's true. Yes. I've had some overdone burgers. I've had some overdone burgers where I was like, damn, this is tragic. Tragic. Okay. Last quick question. How do you like your steak prepared?
Medium rare.
Woo-hoo! A man after my own heart. I love it.
Ooh,
I love it.
gotta have that juice, son.
Yes, medium rare is the way to go. Rare is a little too much. I don't want that thing mooing. You know what I mean? Depends. I go medium sometimes. I go medium sometimes if I'm not feeling like the medium rare, depending on the spot. But I think medium rare is about the good spot.
Yeah. If you go to a non, what am I saying here? A little bit less fancy of a restaurant. I always go, medium. But dude, when you're at
prime
St.
spot.
Elmo's and Indianapolis or Indianapolis,
yep,
bro, medium rare all day. But I'll tell you what, I did order a medium rare steak in England, and that thing was blue. I'm talking. If they slapped that thing on there and it went, and it was on the plate.
Oh shit. And the last thing as a real man and a dad you'll ever say is, can you put this back on the grill and cook it a little more? We ain't doing it.
I don't care if they take it out of the package and slap it on the plate. I ain't sending that thing back, dude.
No, sir.
I'm not sending that thing back.
Okay, let's wrap this thing up. Just a few more questions. Okay, so these 3 questions are from Jade Dungy, your mechanic. Okay, first question from Jade. This is the first question. Why do you like to run your bike so stink bug? Do you have an answer, yes or no?
I do. And if you're around me, or if you know the ins and outs, you know that I like my bike absolutely opposite to a stink bug, and it's more like a chopper with big old tall sissy bars on it.
I love it. Okay, question 2. When you do good, do you feel uncomfortable, or would you like Jade to place his hand somewhere else than your thigh?
I feel extra comfy when he grabs a hold of my thigh. He's done it every time.
Okay, so you're good with that. You're good. That's a good move. We're solid.
I'm 100%.
Okay, cool. All right, great. Last question that Jade Dungy, your mechanic, has for you is, he said, when you are tired, why do you complain to him, but you puss out and not tell Alden Baker that you're tired as well and you don't want to do the work that day?
Because I'm scared of Alden and I'm not scared of him.
Oh, shit.
And maybe if I tell him enough, he'll
yeah, that's Jade.
He'll tell somebody important.
Yeah, Jade, that's your job. Okay, your job is to get on Aaron's back. He wants you to tell Alden that he's tired that day. He's not going to tell Alden. You got to tell him. Come on, Jade.
He needs to be the backseat driver on this one.
Straight up, he needs to go around and be like, hey, my boy Aaron, he's tired today. Jay, I was about to call him Jason Aldean. Alden. Jay, my boy AP's a little tired. Can you take it easy on him today? You know what I mean? That's all we're asking, Jade. Jade, we're coming to you to vent.
That's good. Or
go ahead.
Or just pawn it off on Carlos. Carlos is good at that too.
Hell yeah. Cool. That's freaking awesome. All right. Well, yeah, dude, that's it. That was absolutely freaking so much fun. I loved it. I appreciate you being on the show. Appreciate you taking the time. I know it's late over there in Florida. I hope everything's okay from the hurricane and it wasn't all too bad. And thank you so much for what you did for America and MX the Nations. You did absolutely amazing. Thank you so much from all the fans for riding your heart out and being that guy that reminds us, damn, motocross and supercross is so fun and badass at the same time. We really appreciate it. Like, I can't even tell you how much I love to watch you on TV, and just anytime you get an interview, fucking love it. So thank you so much. Is there anybody you want to thank?
Everybody behind me, man. My family, my team, everybody that supports me for what I do and who I am, and all the fans. I want to thank you for having me on. It has been a damn good what has it been? Almost 2 hours. It is.
It has. How did that go by that fast?
Hey, time flies when you're having fun, man.
Straight
time
up.
flies. That's what I always say. But dude, yeah, I really appreciate you having me on. If you ever need a guest, I'm 100% on board. Just give me a call, give me a ring. I'll answer it every time, my brother.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. We'll do some stuff during Supercross, and then maybe we'll try to catch up with you, give you some time off and try to catch up with you right before the Supercross season starts if you're not too busy. And then we'll definitely have you on for Supercross once everything gets going. The best of luck throughout the off season. I hope you have a fantastic little bit of time off. But yeah, dude, thank you for being on the show.
Hell yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, look forward to the best season that has come out of the AP7, because it's going to happen this year. I'm feeling it.
Hell yeah. Well, we appreciate all the fans. Thank you guys for watching. This is episode 29 with Aaron Plessinger. Peace out.
See you.